Continuing our reading of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, text 73, Bhagavad Gita as it is. Arjuna Vacha Nashto Moha Smritir Labda Tvat Prasadan Mayachyuta Sthito Asmi Gata Sandeha Karishye Vachanam Tava. Arjuna said, "My dear Krishna, O infallible one, my illusion is now gone. I have regained my memory by your mercy. I am now firm and free from doubt and am prepared to act according to your instructions." Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The constitutional position of a living entity represented by Arjuna is that he has to act according to the order of the Supreme Lord. He is meant for self-discipline. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that the actual position of the living entity is that of the eternal servant of the Supreme Lord. So when Sanatana Goswami asked Sri Krishna, Lord Chaitanya, who am I? He said, Jivara Swarupaya Krishnera Nityanas. That's the eternal position of a living entity. We are eternally servants of Krishna. That is our true actual position. And conditioned life means forgetting that basic principle. Conditioned life means thinking that I am the Lord, I am the enjoyer, I am the proprietor. Why should I serve Krishna? I should enjoy it for myself. And then we get conditioned to the three modes of material nature. So forgetting this principle, the living entity becomes conditioned by material nature. But in serving the Supreme Lord, he becomes the liberated servant of God. The living entity's constitutional position is to be servitor. He has to serve either the illusory Maya or the Supreme Lord. If he serves the Supreme Lord, he is in his normal condition. But if he prefers to serve the illusory external energy, then certainly he will be in bondage. So we have to serve because that is our nature. The nature of sugar, it is going to be sweet. You know, we can't change that. The nature of salt is, it is salty. We can't change that. So our nature is that we have this natural propensity to serve. We have that. We can't change it. We are artificially trying to change it here in this material world by pretending that we are the enjoyer, by pretending that we are the proprietor, that everything belongs to us. We are trying to do that. We are pretending that we are doing it, but it's not the truth. We can see that's why that when we actually do something for someone, we feel happier than in receiving. Why is that? Why do we feel happy when we give instead of when we receive? Because that's our nature. So, and here we are trying to serve, now we are saying, oh, I don't want to serve Krishna. Why should I serve Krishna? The minute we say that, we serve Maya. Means we are trying to serve this body. This body is not our true self. It is just made up of dead matter. We are the soul. And so we are serving Maya. We are serving we are serving our country, our community, our parents, our children, but all because we are related in the body concept, the concept that I am body, a concept that I am separate from Krishna. So that is Maya. If he serves the Supreme Lord, he is in his normal condition. But if he prefers to serve the illusory external energy, then certainly he will be in bondage. In illusion, the living entity is serving in this material world. He is bound by his lust and desires, yet he thinks of himself as the master of the world. This is called illusion. When a person is liberated, his illusion is over, and he voluntarily surrenders unto the Supreme to act according to his desires. So we are thinking we are independent, I can do whatever I want to do. But we are actually, we are so bound by our desires. I wish to do this, I want to eat this, I want to go here, I want to do this, I want to do that. So we are bound by our desires, our lust. And Prabhupada is saying this is illusion. And when we are liberated, what we want to do is just to please Krishna. Krishna, I am yours. Please engage me in your service. The last illusion The last snare of Maya to trap the living entity is in the proposition that he is God. The living entity thinks that he is no longer a conditioned soul, but God. So that is how Maya catches us. When we start thinking that you are God, I am God, we are all God. This is the last trap that Maya is trying to trap us here. That I am the controller, I am the enjoyer, I am the proprietor. He is so unintelligent that he does not think that if he were God, then how could he be in doubt? That he does not consider. So that is the last snare of illusion. When we start thinking we are God, then we are not able to think, oh, how come I have this doubt? How come I'm limited? How come I'm under this Maya? If we are God, why would we be under Maya? Why would we be under illusion? Actually, to become free from the illusory energy is to understand Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and agree to act according to his order. So that is becoming free, that is becoming liberated. When we are trying to understand Krishna, that he is the Supreme Lord, and I am his eternal servant. And we are acting in that position. We agree to act, and that begins by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. We begin our surrender process by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. The word moha is very important in this verse. Moha refers to that which is opposed to knowledge. Actually, real knowledge is the understanding that every living being is eternally a servitor of the Lord. But instead of thinking oneself in that position, the living entity thinks that he's not a servant, that he's the master of this material world, for he wants to lord it over the material nature. That is his illusion. This illusion can be overcome by the mercy of the Lord or by the mercy of a pure devotee. When that illusion is over, one agrees to act in Krishna consciousness. So right now we are in illusion. We are thinking I'm the body. We are thinking I'm the enjoyer. I'm separate from Krishna. And that is illusion. And then Prabhupada is saying that this illusion can be overcome by the mercy of the Lord or by the mercy of a pure devotee. And what happens when we get that mercy? That illusion will be over. We will be situated in our rightful position as eternal loving servants of Krishna. And how can we attract the mercy of the Lord? By chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, by hearing and reading from Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. By accepting a spiritual master, we can get his mercy. Krishna consciousness is acting according to Krishna's order. A conditioned soul, illusioned by the external energy of matter, does not know that the Supreme Lord is the master who is full of knowledge and who is the proprietor of everything. So right now we are not able to understand that Krishna is the one who is full of knowledge. Krishna is the one to whom everything and everyone belongs. Whatever he desires, he can bestow upon his devotees. He is the friend of everyone, and he is especially inclined to his devotee. So we are not able to understand that how our desires are being fulfilled. We are thinking, I'm doing it, but actually Krishna is fulfilling our desires. Krishna can do that. He's the friend of everyone. He's everyone's friend. He's the friend not only of the devotees, but also of the atheist, the demoniac. He's in everyone's heart. It's not that he says that I'm only in the heart of the devotee and I'm not in the heart of the atheist. No, he's in everyone's heart, but he's especially inclined to his devotee. So we can see that how a parent, he will love all his children. But if there is a specific child who is always wanting to please the father more, who's always listening to the father's instructions, who's always coming and talking to the father, naturally the father will have more interaction with that child. It is natural. So Krishna also has emotions. It's not that Krishna is emotionless. If we have feelings and we have emotions, Krishna also has his emotions and feelings. We try to negate Krishna's feelings. We try to make him impersonal. We try to make God as someone who has no emotions, but he is the supreme person. He has emotions. Krishna has emotions too. So he's the controller of this material nature and of all living entities. He's also the controller of inexhaustible time. And he is full of all opulences and all potencies. The Supreme Personality of Godhead can even give himself to the devotee. One who does not know him is under the spell of illusion. He does not become a devotee, but a servitor of Maya. Arjuna, however, after hearing Bhagavad Gita from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, became free from all illusion. He could understand that Krishna was not only his friend, but the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he understood Krishna factually. So to study Bhagavad Gita is to understand Krishna factually, to understand Krishna how he actually is, not to project our idea of how Krishna should be. When we are trying to study Bhagavad Gita, we want to understand who Krishna is, who God is actually, not to put our ideas that, oh, this God should be like this and God should do like this and God should not do like that. When a person is in full knowledge, he naturally surrenders to Krishna. And so that's why we always recommended to hear how great God is. You know how great he is, then automatically we want to surrender. When a great personality comes, don't we say, well, don't we admire him? Even in the material world, there's some great person in any field it could be. We have that natural respect for them. Oh, wow, this person, you know, he stands for something. So similarly, Krishna is so great, we should try to understand how great he is. And then we can naturally surrender to Krishna. When Arjuna understood that it was Krishna's plan to reduce the unnecessary increase of population, he agreed to fight according to Krishna's desire. He again took up his weapons, his arrows and bow to fight under the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So earlier Arjuna had refused to fight, but now after he's understanding Krishna, after he's understanding the reason why Krishna wants him to fight, Arjuna is willing to do that. So we should follow Krishna's instructions. Krishna is saying, he came as Lord Chaitanya to tell us, wherever you are, whatever position you are in, you just chant Hare Krishna. So whatever position we are in materially, it doesn't matter. Just start chanting Hare Krishna. Just start hearing and reading from Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. For the pleasure of Krishna. Try to do this for the pleasure of Krishna. And give this chanting and the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam to others for the pleasure of Krishna. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So we can stop here for today. Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Shri Prabhupada.
Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.